going on in your head.
I have to mirror exactly what she's saying. Like, I would say years ago, I thought therapists were kind of full of crap, like, in honesty, and I would blame all my relationship failures on the man. Every single time I was like, it's the man, it's the man, it's the man.
Wow.
No offense to anyone. I have since then realized so much about myself. And I know you said you might ask me these questions later, but because of my learning of myself, I feel like I have been in one of the most successful relationships I've ever been in. And it's because of me working on myself more than anything. It almost has nothing to do with him, to be honest. I mean, it does, have to do with him, but like more me, I'd say, working on my own self, like wellness.
Sorry, just give a little applause. I mean, really, you know, very, very quickly, and I don't want to get stuck on this. Well, look, we brought y'all on here because we wanted to hear about this new app. You know, I use a ton of dating apps. I've used a couple trans dating apps in the past. Really break it down for us. Tell us about Jeweled.
So Jeweled is a dating app. Obviously, it's our goal for this app is to be a trans-centric app for trans individuals and those that are interested in dating trans individuals. And this idea came about actually years ago. Avi and I were at a nail salon and we're getting our nails done. And we were just talking about how hard dating is. It's so hard. You have to download multiple apps. It's just you can't find people, especially as trans individuals, and I'm guessing also as trans attracted men, it might be really difficult to find trans individuals if that's what you're looking for. And we just discussed the issues with it. Like me personally, dating has been so difficult, like having to deal with like, you know, people fetishizing me, treating me like a sex object, people ghosting me, people like harassing me. And so I was telling Avi, you know, every once in a while, you do find a rare gem, every once in a while. And that literally, that sort of switched everything in our head about everyone being gems and jewels, and that's how we sort of came up with this idea of Jeweled, the dating app. And it's an app that's a little different than other apps, I would say. Our hope is to have a personality questionnaire incorporated in the app, and with this personality test, they'll identify you as a certain gemstone or jewel, and that you can actually match with your users based on compatibility of who you are rather than just physical characteristics.
And I do appreciate you recognizing us and just putting us out there like that.
I really appreciate that. I was gonna say that this video is honestly inspired by my boyfriend in a lot of ways, because me dating him and he's been so open with me. He definitely opened my eyes to men, like, oh wow, there's men that will actually go with me to the movie theater and not leave me stranded and decide to, you know, resell the tickets, which I've had happen before. Oh, he actually will go with me to meet his family. Oh, he'll actually. And it just inspired me to realize this whole group of men that I think maybe a lot of trans girls aren't even fully aware of either, because they're so closed off to it. They're not seeing these men that exist in the world. And the word chaser, I really think our language needs to expand. I always think about this, that there are men that are, whatever you want to call it, trans amorous, trans attracted. I think what needs to happen is maybe a broader definition of sexuality, right? I think, you know, if a man is attracted to a man, we don't call that a fetish. We don't call that a chaser of a man. We call it, you know, gay. If they're part of, so, and there's probably a word that we don't have even the vocabulary for yet. That's my guess. And so we use these other words and we throw them around, and I think it's willy-nilly and it's just man-made language, and I think it's all made up. And I think at the end of the day, you love who you love, and that's what matters. So I really appreciate all the support. I mean, I think for me personally, I do think media coverage is so important. Like, I just watched Mortal Kombat last night. This is really good, I swear. The lead male is an Asian guy, right? And if you think about lead males, you know, even 5 years ago, it was always white men. And the fact that the lead male is a character who's often the quiet one, the Asian stereotype was actually the lead character. He's like the I don't know who's seen Mortal Kombat yet, but you know, it made me realize, like, this is going to change things. Like, this is going to cause a shift in culture. People are going to start to aspire to be that man, right? And it makes Asian culture actually more represented. And I think the same goes for trans women, trans men, trans attracted men. Like, if we can see more of these things in the media, I do think it'll cause people to shift. Especially the youth, I think, because they're so impressionable and they're going to see these things growing up. And if they're seeing, you know, on TV, men openly dating trans girls and this and that, and I think it's going to just like, oh, that's just life. That's how it is. And right now we're not seeing that. And so I do think it's seen as taboo and a fetish and all these other things that I don't agree with. But yeah.